Bem-vindo a todos, bem-vindos. Prazer estar acá. Good afternoon. Welcome to the IDB Group Pavilion. Bem-vindos. Deixa eu primeiro agradecer o BNDES e o presidente
Let
Mercadante
me thank BNDES, President Mercadante,
for your commitment to the purpose and promise of this coalition. I would like to welcome our esteemed guests attending in person. Estimados líderes de la coalición, Javier Díaz Fajardo,
Esteemed leaders of the coalition, Javier Díaz Fajardo, Juan Carlos Luis,
Denise Paz Bernardini,
Denise Palenandiri,
Gamba,
Francisco Lozano Gamba,
Álvarez,
Edgar Álvarez,
greatly enriches our event. To those joining us via live stream, I extend my thanks to all presidents and teams of the Green Coalition 20 members. It's great to see my fellow development bank presidents here, as well as the other members of the coalition. We are here today, each one of us committed to a sustainable future for the Amazon. In fact, your commitment is what has made the Green Coalition a reality. This year's COP has just begun. We have already heard many leaders share their perspectives on the state of our planet and what will be taken to ensure a sustainable future, including for the Amazon. This gathering will provide us with an opportunity to hear from you, the development leaders of the region who have the expertise and holistic view of what sustainable development for the Amazon looks like and how we can work towards that goal. For the IDB, this coalition is at the heart of Amazonia Forever, Amazonia Sempre. The coalition is a key part of that, and is a part of a program that looks at 5 pillars: combating deforestation, strengthening environmental security, promoting the bioeconomy, supporting the people of the Amazon, sustainable cities, infrastructure, connectivity, sustainable low carbon agriculture, livestock, and forestry. The Green Coalition and the Amazonia Forever not only complement each other, they reinforce each other. The vision of the Green Coalition is that we can have a future where human progress and diverse ecosystems not only coexist, but also reinforce each other with sustainability and balance. The Green Coalition will be instrumental in this process. Together, we can increase technical assistance to elevate standards and leverage the expansion of credit with the right conditions. This will enable sustainable infrastructure. Our work will enable sustainable public service too, in areas like sanitation, health, transportation. This is how we pursue our collective goal of fighting poverty, especially among the region's 40 million people. Tem 40 milhões de pessoas, hay 40 millones de personas en la Amazonia. Eso es crucial.
there are 40 million people in the Amazon region.
Coalition will create the conditions to get credit flowing through different work streams, including to support a framework for sustainable investment practices and for developing innovative financial and technical solutions. Let me tell you the progress to date. We started in Belém. What have we done? You're gonna hear from the panel. The bylaws of the coalition have been agreed. A technical secretariat has been established. We are the secretariat. But more important, a 2-year action plan has been set by the coalition members with a very specific mobilization goal in mind by the end of the decade. Working together, the coalition can mobilize between 10 and 20 billion dollars in additional funding and technical assistance for the Amazon region by the end of this decade. Let me repeat, maybe in another language. 10,000 millones a 20,000 millones.
Between 10 and 20 billion additional dollars for the region.
And I repeat in English, 10 to 20 additional billions for the region.
We will discuss all of this today as we consider our progress in our action plan for the next 2 years, looking toward what? COP30 back there in Belém. What is the IDB role? The IDB is proud to serve as the coalition's secretariat. That's what we're doing. Thanks to these guys. Thank you also for you guys to do this work. We are committing to fostering collaboration among all members, offering specialized technical support, both individually and at regional scope. In fact, that is a core idea behind the coalition. A coordinated regional effort is far more effective than individual isolated national actions. That's because of the benefits of economies of scale, knowledge exchange, and a better ability to engage international partners and investors. Coordinated regional efforts are at the DNA of the IDB. The IDB en su DNA tiene integración regional. And that's also at the heart of Amazonia Forever. So let me conclude what I said. The 20 development banks in the coalition can ensure that human progress and diverse ecosystems not only coexist in the Amazon, but also reinforce each other. The Green Coalition will create the conditions to get credit flowing through diverse different work streams, including to support a framework for sustainable investment practices and for developing innovative financial and technical solutions. As a collective, the coalition is aiming high and wants to reach the goal of 10 billion to 20 billion by 2000 and by the end of the decade for the sustainable development of the Amazon. You can count on the IDB as your trusted partner today and in the years ahead. I wish you all a productive event and a successful COP. Thank you very much.
It is my pleasure now to invite for his opening remarks the President Aloysio Mercadante of BNDES, who, as I mentioned before, is another main sponsor of this initiative. Thanks to him, we have started this. No? So, President Aloysio Mercadante, welcome for your opening remarks.
Dá para ouvir, né?
Can you hear me all right? Unfair competition. I'll be speaking in Portuguese. I understand that there's interpretation for anyone who has a hard time understanding me. Portuguese is just poorly spoken Spanish, so it's not really that hard to understand. I would like to greet all of the members of the Green Coalition, the president of IDB, and of the Amazon Bank, governor of the state of Pernambuco. I welcome you. So I'd like to say that this initiative of the Green Coalition is a innovative initiative that was too long in coming. It took too many decades for us to sit around the table together and to converge or coalesce these different initiatives. But it's a very ambitious coalition, and it needs to be. So the Amazon region is 25% of the forest, tropical forest cover of the planet. Alone, it amounts to 1 centigrade increase or drop in the average temperature of the planet. What we see right now, after having the hottest year of history, the hottest week, the hottest day in history we had this year. We had some days in which the temperature was 2 degrees higher than average. That was unimaginable 10 years ago. Now, this is a huge challenge that we face, as Brazil is a very large territory. The climate extremes are arriving, and they are impacting the BNDES. We have had flooding and a very prolonged drought in the Northeast, which is a region that's already very hard hit by droughts. We had a drought, unprecedented drought in the Amazon region, in the worst drought in 120 years. Rivers that were navigable ran out of water. So that's what we're dealing with now. It's becoming a desert. And so we're going to have to work and seek to collaborate with the desert to save the Amazon. So we're working with CAF, the World Bank, IDB, International Development Banks. We have to seek out other partners open to this type of involvement, and all of the banks, almost all of the development banks that have some type of relationship or dealings with the Amazon. What do we think our biggest challenges are? First, we have to combat deforestation. Brazil dropped by 22% its deforestation rate this year. We are going to reach our voluntary goal of reducing greenhouse gases, because half of the emissions from Brazil come from deforestation in Brazil. Just by cutting that back, we meet that goal. So 40% of our energy production is renewable, 80-some% of the electric system is from renewables, but it's not enough just to fight deforestation. The first big challenge that we face is to reforest the Amazon. That's the best way to capture carbon, is by reforesting. It's been around for a long time. It's the oldest way to do it. President Lula is going to be launched, and then the Minister Haddad and Minister Marina are going to be a part of this reforestation process using our own resources. We're going to involve the BNDES, Bank of Brazil. We're going to extend this to the countries of the region, this initiative to reforest the Amazon region, because that is the best way to recover the Amazon, for it to regenerate itself. Now, the second big priority is to take care of the 48 million people who live in the Amazon region. Now, when COP30 comes along in the Amazon, there are many specialists in Pororoca, Igarapé, people who've never seen the people there. They have to get to know the people of the region, appreciate them. We're working with the different institution governors and mayors and all those people who live within the Amazon region, forest region, to come up with a good transition program. And we need to come up with good practices, agriculture that's decarbonized, creative economy, low carbon economy, bioeconomy in this reforestation process. We have to replant with native plants. But some of these plants, acai and Brazil nuts, native plants that will create jobs and sustain people in the region. The coalition should be talking about the carbon market. The quicker that comes online and converges, the better. Now we talk about the taxonomy, the structure of a certifying agency for the region, not just outside the region, because what does the Amazon region represent internationally? There's a discussion underway and disagreement regarding the importance of it within that overall structure. And so this is something we have to nail down as quickly as we can. Now, we also have the challenge of infrastructure. We're going to launch a program. You're all invited on the 7th. The CAF assembly is going to be held in Rio at the BNDES. This is a regional program. IDB is also invited. And so it's very important for the Green Coalition to also be there. Now, all of the integration public works projects fall within the aegis of BNDES, working with the national banks. We're going to work on infrastructure, roadways, integration of the productive chains, communication, and other infrastructure, so that we can build the economy and come up with a structure that is focused on a decarbonized economy. But the big challenge is clean energy in the Amazon. Now, in the remote areas of Amazon, there is a lot of burning, and you can't really solve the issue of wind and solar energy. It's not as efficient. They aren't as efficient as in the Northeast. So we have to build viable alternatives with which to decarbonize the source of electric power, the whole grid. Now you can see how much hustle bustle there is here. 70,000 people are at this COP. COP 30 is going to be where the Global South will converge upon the Amazon. We are going to preside over the BRICS, G20, Mercosur. And so this is going to be a large-scale event, and we have the huge challenge of infrastructure to solve before that to get people around. So the Green Coalition can be play a leading role in that COP. We can lead this process. We can launch ambitious, audacious initiatives. Now we're starting with $10 billion. Everyone can start writing their checks, raising that to 20 billion. And so this is not too ambitious yet, but we want to have a good start by the time COP 30 comes along. I think many international fora are going to open the doors to us, given how innovative we're going to be, the meaning of what we're doing, and how ambitious we are. Even though it's a bit late in coming, it's absolutely necessary now to save the planet and to cope with climate change, tackle climate change. So welcome. We can now write a new chapter in the history of the region. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you to our opening speakers for their inspiring and motivating remarks. Your insights and passion for sustainable development in the Amazon region have set a powerful tone for our discussion today. Now, we are proud to present a special video featuring voices of presidents from members of our coalition. Their united, inspiring calls to action for sustainable development in the Amazon region underscore our collective commitment to this vital cause. So let's watch and be inspired together.
The Green Coalition is committed to enhancing the availability of financing and integrating environmental, economic, and social sustainability in its operation in the Amazon.
The Green Coalition will allow governments, public development banks, and multilateral institutions to work together on preserving this sanctuary with better financial products, technical assistance, and instruments that provide better livelihoods for all communities in the Amazon.
O grande desafio na região amazônica é fazer com que o crédito chegue na ponta, para que a gente tenha desenvolvimento social. Não dá para falar em conservação ambiental sem nós termos desenvolvimento social. Não dá para nós falarmos em preservação de árvores sem tratar quem mora embaixo da árvore.
Promoveremos que las comunidades indígenas y afrodescendientes tengan garantizado su reconocimiento, un mayor acceso a la educación de calidad y, por supuesto, a la provisión de servicios de salud que toman en cuenta los saberes tradicionales y la interculturalidad.
Para sectores específicos, para promover la ecoeficiencia energética, para promover una producción más limpia, el tratamiento de residuos, el cambio de la matriz energética hacia energías renovables.
A criação da Coalizão Verde, esse conjunto de instituições financeiras, foi uma grande ideia, porque nós precisamos, de fato, tornar possível o financiamento dessa transição da economia, de tornar a Amazônia sustentável, mas também justa com seus povos.
La coalición es una alianza que busca poner una mirada diferenciada en la zona, permitiendo una mayor canalización de recursos para el desarrollo de actividades en pro de la protección de la biodiversidad del pulmón del mundo.
Em termos concretos, a coalizão gere a mobilização de parcerias e de recursos que dinamize a economia da região sob bases sustentáveis. Podemos citar o caso da energia renovável no Brasil, com destaque para a eólica.
Participar en la coalición verde me inspira a ser parte de la solución. Cada idea o contribución es un paso hacia adelante.
Me siento muy orgullosa y comprometida, ya que estamos haciendo historia en la región, llamando a la acción con una voz más poderosa para lograr cambios positivos.
We are working hard to bring additional partners and investors from the region and beyond, encouraging them to join this concerted effort.
Esta coalición mejorará la vida de los habitantes de la Amazonía a los emprendedores de la economía popular y solidaria, porque genera empleo.
These efforts are very important for our institution, because with knowledge sharing, we could develop new products for the small and medium enterprises which we serve.
Es una oportunidad muy grande de poder ayudar a un objetivo y a algo tan importante que trasciende nuestra generación y también tiene que ver con la forma como le dejamos el planeta a nuestros hijos.
Por esto, estamos comprometidos y muy entusiasmados en participar en este tipo de iniciativas que buscan promover soluciones financieras para el fortalecimiento de las actividades productivas, sostenibles y generadoras de un impacto ambiental positivo.
Realizar trabalho específico para a Amazônia Legal é fundamental para qualquer organização preocupada com o futuro dos nossos países do mundo.
¿Cuál es el futuro que imaginamos para nuestra región amazónica?
Uno que sea próspero, sostenible e inclusivo.
In a world that so often feels divided.
Proponemos una visión compartida
y el compromiso de trabajar juntos hacia el gran objetivo de nuestra generación.
O desenvolvimento sustentável da Amazônia.
Isso vai além da conservação.
Se trata de mejorar vidas,
fortificar comunidades
y construir un mañana
where no one is left behind.
Nossas ações se intensificarão
en los días, meses y años venideros.
With two main objectives:
reduzir a pobreza
e mejorar la sostenibilidad en la región amazónica.
A nossa coalizão não pode e não irá agir sozinha.
The journey demands collaborations
que transcendem fronteiras e setores.
Nuestra fuerza está en nuestra unidad y la diversidad de nuestras asociaciones.
That will allow us
afrontar los retos que se nos presenten.
E garantir que as nossas intervenções cheguem a quem necessita.
El camino hacia el futuro próspero,
sostenible
and inclusive future we dream of
começa hoje.
Gracias.
It's quite something to think that we haven't completed 4 months yet, no? So now I invite Natalia Diaz, no, that has been such a great partner in getting this up to speed, no? Director of Capital Markets and Sustainable Finance of BNDES, to shed light on progress reached by the Green Coalition, its governance, and its 2024-2025 action plan. Natalia, welcome.
Bom dia a todos, todas e todos. Eu também vou falar em
Good morning to all. I will speak Portuguese to benefit the public. Let me thank the IDB and all development banks in the region that allowed that this Ilan's and Aloysio Mercadante's vision to become a reality. As we saw when we heard them, this coalition is a pioneering and ambitious vision. It's the first time we put together all development banks with a common objective: promote and accelerate sustainable development in the Amazon. And because of the resources we want to mobilize from $10 to $20 billion, even more until 2030, and the way we're going to use them, creating economic alternatives for the 48 million people that live there, developing financial instruments that are flexible with a common taxonomy around this ambitious and innovating objective. But beyond ambition, we need to be pragmatic. I am going to talk about what is more pragmatic and tell you what it is we did in these 4 months, short time, but a lot of work. Let me talk about governance. Since the third meeting of the task force in Rio, we drafted the bylaws, and we have committees and structures that will be making decisions, and they are collectively validated by the banks that make up the coalition. In summary, we will have a steering committee made up by members of the coalition, 17 public banks in the region, and the 3 international partners. The committee is the highest organ of the coalition, responsible for establishing the objectives and targets, approve biannual budgets, revise them, make sure that objectives and targets are attained, discuss other issues that have to do with fundamental principles, and approve the communication plans. International partners will offer advice to the steering committee, but it's the national development banks that know the territories are the ones who will have the voting power in the committee decisions. Let me tell you that the Green Coalition chose BNDES, President Mercadante, unanimously as the chairman, and Javier Diaz, chairman of Codex, as vice chairman. Javier, we're very happy to have you here because we're so happy to connect our institutions because we have so many institutions that we need to implement. We have a technical committee that will support the steering committee, and the technical committee will create several task forces to help us to work in the different workflows. As President Ilan said, the IDB is the secretariat, and let me thank the whole of the IDB team. They are so efficient, so helpful, and they're very good in the organization of everything they do. And most important, the coalition approved the work plan. The work plan, it has 4 specific pillars. The first is the integration and collaboration. We want to facilitate the exchange of experience among the banks in the coalition, but also map existing initiatives, map bottlenecks so that we can be more effective, and also improve strategies to promote sustainable development. The second pillar, as President Aloysian said, is taxonomy. Taxonomy in the application of resources. How are we going to define the projects in the coalition? How can we develop the carbon market regionally? And that's an important area so that we can be sure that we will be similar in the application of resources and use the same language and bring the language of the Amazon to the world. The third, creation of financial instruments and offer technical assistance so that we can mobilize the necessary resources for us to go forward. And we are thinking of a creation of a financial innovation laboratory using the existing intelligence and the best international practices so that we can mobilize and apply resources in the best possible way. And the third pillar is mobilization of resources, of course. The Amazon is gigantic. With the resources of the banks, we won't be able to do it, but we want to use our expertise, our seal of quality to mobilize private capital that can be our partners to attain our objectives. These workflows want to ensure that we are effective, pragmatic, and we don't lose the momentum. For all of those that want to know more about the coalition, we've just opened our site, www.greencoalition.com. The site is in English, Portuguese, and Spanish, and not only does it include everything I mentioned, governance, the flagship initiatives of the banks, and they are examples, small initiatives that we want to escalate. That is what we managed to do in 4 months since President Mercadantes launched the challenge accepted by the IDB, and we want to include your inputs. This is the first step to have important deliverables at the COP30. This is the beginning of a very large mobilization, a contribution of Latin America for the world. Preserve the Amazon, reforest, and create economic alternatives for the population in the region. Thank you.
Now we shift to the other part of this event, which is to show like how representative this coalition is. I'm welcoming here, please join me in welcoming our esteemed panelists to the stage. They are presidents of development banks in the Amazon region, committed to foster the sustainable development. No? So let's give them a warm welcome. And I invite the presidents to come and take the seats here that we're going to have a panel with a few questions. Thank you so much. Ah, não vai ter? Sim, se possível. Se puder nos acompanhar, será muito bem-vindo. Ah, vai ter que sair? Eu faço foto.
Tirar uma foto.
Ok.
Fica você no meio.
Ah, o presidente vai ter que sair.
Ele tem que sair, ele quer fazer uma foto só com o Javier.
Ah, então, ok. Vamos. Ok, então. Ok, so. Muito obrigado, então. Sim. Pode pegar. Tá, tudo bem. Okay, so to start the panel, and Our first question goes to Mr. Javier Diaz Fajardo, President of Banco Dex from Colombia. Javier, what are the challenges for the development banks to expand their operations in the Amazon? Could you please share a few words?
Hello, is it working?
Can get mic.
So thank you very much for this invitation. Thank you to the IDB. Thanks to the World Bank, and a special thanks to BNDES for this invitation and for spearheading this initiative. So speaking of challenges, if I may be very blunt, I think the first challenge we have to overcome is ignorance regarding the Amazon. We have to learn about the Amazon. I really doubt that bureaucrats such as myself can actually aim to make a difference many thousand miles away and pretend that we know things that we don't. So my first point would be to overcome this lack of knowledge regarding the Amazon and take a deep dive into what the Amazon represents, its biodiversity and its richness. It is humongous. And that's the challenge. That's the size of our challenge. So I think, first of all, we have to learn more about the Amazon. We have to start from the beginning. Second challenge is articulation. I think my colleagues and friends, Natalia and others, mentioned that we need to articulate 8 countries, institutions. We need to come together as one. And I think that's at least one of the values of the coalition. It is coming together, not just as one voice, but with a combined balance sheet to tackle the obstacles of the Amazon. And then I think there's a third challenge, which is not necessarily put on the table, which is illegality. Why do we have deforestation? Why do we have mining that is uncontrolled? There's too much illegal activity going on in the Amazon, and we seem to turn a blind eye on it. So we're focusing on the consequences, which is deforestation, but we're not focusing enough on why people are actually engaging in these activities. So we have to come with real solutions. We have to come with technical assistance for the communities, for the people who need to improve their lives in order to not commit these illegal activities. So in order to give voice to people who know more about the Amazon, I will probably stop there for the time being with those 3 challenges. Thank you.
Eu vou só pedir licença, porque eu tenho outro evento agora com o
I
presidente.
want you to excuse me. I have another event now with President Lula, the Minister of Economy, and it's time for me to leave. I'm going to ask Natalia to replace me, and that's going to improve gender equity as well. Thank you.
Então, continuing here, so thank you, Mr. Fajardo. Now, our second question will go for Mr. Luiz Lessa, President of Banco da Amazônia do Brasil. How can the Green Coalition increase the sustainable financing in the Amazon?
Bom, boa tarde a todos aqui. Bom dia ao pessoal do Brasil e dos outros países.
Good afternoon, everyone. I greet all of the authorities from Brazil and everyone listening in. Now, this administration is very much interested because this cuts to the heart of what this coalition is. The Amazon Bank has been in the Amazon region for 81 years. We operate in all of the different cities of the Brazilian Amazon region, from microcredit programs right through to mid-size investors in large infrastructure projects. So currently, and over this period of time, we have acquired much knowledge about the Amazon region, a wealth of knowledge. But when this opportunity emerged for the Green Coalition, we realized that there are other banks operating in the region and in neighboring countries, actually. So the question is, what are our neighbors doing? What type of products do they have? What types of solutions have they taken to the communities in those countries that share the Amazon, the Ecuadorian, Colombian Amazons? That made it necessary for the coalition to act as a catalyst, as was said here, a catalyst for solutions, so that we can bring together, pool our knowledge from the different countries, how we have developed products and services, so that we can do this as a collective effort to exchange experiences, so that the service we bring to Amazon citizens can be better, improved upon. I think that this coalition is going to add much value, not just to the Amazon Bank, but to the other banks. So on our part, we think that we can contribute with our experience for us to provide ever better products and services. Thank you very much, President Lessa.
Our next question is for Ms. Denise Paz Bernardini. Denise is the president of Banco de Desarrollo Productivo from Bolivia. The question is, from the perspective of BDP, how does the work of the Green Coalition fit into the global effort to combat climate change?
Thank you very much. I will continue in Spanish because it's the language that is missing today. And como dijeron los presidentes que me antecedieron,
as my predecessors have already said, in the Amazon, we have several million people living there. There are 400 different ethnic groups, of which 350 are indigenous communities. And in most cases, they're people who live in very precarious conditions. They live in in poverty, and in order to preserve sustainable development, we do that by improving living standards to all of these communities, which means that we need to address the major objective globally, which is to combat poverty. But at the same time, the Amazon region is the home. In fact, it has 10% of the world's biodiversity and richness. Its rainforests are the major source of fresh water in the continent, but they also contribute to combating climate change. That's why stopping deforestation translates in preserving water, preserving biodiversity, and returning to the Amazon that major role that it plays as a carbon sink that has the capacity to store 10%, in other words, 1 decade's worth of CO2 emissions. That's how important the Amazon is for the balance of global climate. That's why the Amazon region could be our major ally in combating climate change, or it could be our major adversary. So we're hoping it will be the former and not the latter. Thank you very much.
Our next question now is for Mr. Juan Carlos Muñiz Pacheco, president of Findeter from Colombia. And the question is, how might the Green Coalition program positively affect the social and cultural aspects of communities in the Colombian Amazon?
Muchas gracias. Gracias, Anderson. Muchas gracias por la invitación. Buenas tardes a todos.
Thank you, Anderson, and thank you for the kind invitation. Good afternoon to everyone. In Colombia, you have 6 provinces that are a part of the Amazon region. These are provinces that have major deficits in terms of educational, health, public services in general. For example, when we look at the housing deficit in terms of quality and quantity, capital cities have about like Bogota, have a 5% housing shortage or deficit. But in some of these provinces, the capital cities have 25% housing shortages. So again, we're looking at making infrastructure improvements. We're providing better educational infrastructure because the shortages in quality education are also high in these regions. So this is also having a major social impact as well, because we're trying to bridge gaps, and we'll do that as we provide greater opportunities to our children to have more access to quality education, to allow the public to have better services that and to supplement the lack of that 100% coverage. Many people don't even have 24 hours of electricity. So as we address all of these shortages and issues, we're having a social impact on the entire community. But culturally, it's the same thing because we work to maintain their culture, their traditions. We've done it in other regions in Colombia. We are now also targeting that in the Amazon. We include the indigenous communities as we did in the Guajira region. And we have to, again, be familiar with their culture, their mindset, and how best to preserve their culture. Thank you very much, sir.
Is the president of Financiera de Desarrollo Nacional, FDN, from Colombia. Francisco, how would the Green Coalition improve the quality of life of the inhabitants of the Colombian Amazon?
Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias, Anderson. Muchas
Thank you,
gracias.
Anderson. I'd like to thank the IDB for their kind invitation. I'd like to thank all of our colleagues who are here with us. I believe that this is the right time for the coalition. It's going to do a great deal to help. I think one of the most important factors is, as was identified by the president of IDB and president of BNDES, we need to strengthen that dialogue between all of us. We need to maximize and leverage the synergies and maximize and leverage what we can contribute. As Javier stated, in Colombia, we need to learn. We need to become more familiar with the Amazon and work more closely to better learn from its lessons. Now, the challenges in Colombia are different from those in Brazil. The largest city in the Colombian region of the Amazon is 20 times smaller than Belén do Pará. So it's clear that the challenges are going to be different. And yet, it's also important to find energy solutions. As Juan Carlos pointed out, communities don't have 24/7 electrical energy services, and also they use diesel-powered generators. So I think there's space there to be able to work with renewable energy sources so that we're not only combating climate change, but we're also introducing major improvements in the communities. So I think what's most important, first and foremost, is to learn from our mutual experiences and then apply them to benefit our countries. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lozano.
Back to BNDES and Natalia. Why, Natalia, are the Green Coalition's efforts so important to BNDES?
Eu acho que para o BNDES é importante porque, obviamente,
Now, for the BNDES, it's very important because a big part of the Amazon region is in Brazil, for starters, but for the first time, we understand that it makes no sense for us just to deal with these problems locally. What we like to see here is that this is an initiative that brings all of the region's banks together so that we can come up with regional solutions, thinking together. That's going to address these problems more effectively than working alone. Now, we have a long-standing history in the region. We have a host of initiatives underway, but the size of this, the scope of this challenge is so big that we can't just keep doing the same thing. The idea of the coalition is how can we identify what we did right and what can be scaled up, offering financing for that, and not just focus on preserving the environment, but fight deforestation, and also enable the people who live there to live from the forest and find a means of living. So this is a new look, a more ambitious one, a renewed one, and it's collective. So that's why I like this initiative so much, because we, for the first time, Latin America, are working together to provide solutions for the world. And I think that's what this coalition has to offer. And in these fora, we learn from each other, and we are putting our heads together collectively to tackle this challenge and leave this a legacy for humanity.
Thank you very much, Natalia. Now, a challenge to all of you, no? Due to time constraints, but you are well trained in the video, no? We need I'm going to invite you to speak very briefly in 30 seconds. What does your institution plans to achieve through the Green Coalition? So just like in the video, very quick inputs with 30 seconds. what does your institution plans to achieve through the group, through the Green Coalition? No? So a very short sentence, 30 seconds speech, and let's start from here and go all the way there. 30 seconds.
Con una amplia movilización de recursos.
We need to have a broad mobilization of resources in this coalition that is capable of mobilize public-private projects aimed at sustainable development, providing technical assistance, and with special emphasis on the indigenous communities. Well, the coalition will determine, and once it's determined, the focus on sustainability, to make this sustainability effort even stronger, and to introduce and provide technical assistance to the communities in the Amazon in the planning as well as execution of projects that will provide better living standards and quality of life in the region.
I believe that what we are going to achieve beyond galvanizing resources is to make sure that these resources reach the end users, the people, to actually promote development of the people living in the forest, and for there to be development, socioeconomic development, and to also take pressure off this process of deforestation, so there is not so much deforestation. That will create a positive circle.
La generación de diésel.
Transition and energy transitions to look for new non-conventional renewable solutions and be able to develop rainforest conservation projects.
Not just save trees, but the souls of the Amazon. We need to gather resources to focus on sanitation infrastructure, energy transition as well. That's the key.
It's difficult to not repeat what's already been mentioned. Clean energy, of course, and microcredit for the communities. These are essential priorities.
And coverage, no, that the group can bring to the Amazon. I want to thank you to our panelists for the insightful contributions today. The perspective have highlighted the complexities and potential of sustainable development in the Amazon. But now I'm excited here to announce that the Green Coalition's website that was launched today as a dynamic hub for updates. I don't know if it can be, the website is coming. And we have launched the website today, and you can see there is the video that we have watched. In this website, you can see the action plan of the coalition, the members, the level, if you continue the level of ambition of the coalition, the objectives, so it's a tool, that we through this platform symbolizes our commitment to transparency and collaboration, inviting the broader community to engage with us. As this event concludes, I invite institutions aligned with our mission to join the Green Coalition, a movement that is driven by a shared vision for a sustainable Amazon. Your support and collaboration are vital for our success. I wanted to say now also special thanks to the teams across our member organizations. It has been an incredible collaboration to get this action plan ready, like the bylaws, like in less than 4 months. It's a miracle with so many institutions and across different countries. And then a personal special thanks to my team, the IDB team acting as the Green Coalition Secretariat, for your dedication and efforts in achieving remarkable progress. Many of them have woke up very early there in Washington to be watching us here, like a deep appreciation and thanks to all of you. Thanks to everyone here today, panelists, attendees, and teams behind the scenes. Thank you so much for making this work and being a success. Let's maintain this momentum as we work towards a thriving Amazon. Thank you so much to all of you.